Well, as we get into Paul's definition of love, we see him use these descriptions that let us know what love is and also what it isn't. As I look through this list, I'm thankful that Paul uses these very real words to help clarify the true meaning of this word love. And some of the words that he uses tell us what love looks like, but he also lets us in on what it doesn't look like. And the third description in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 says, love does not envy. And I want to spend a couple minutes focusing on that word envy, or we could use the word jealousy as well. And as I think about this word and how it plays out in our life and our relationships, it becomes clear to me that this has the ability to wreak havoc in our relationships. We are called to love one another, and if we are also envious of one another, then we won't be able to demonstrate the love the way God wants us to. And I think about how envy can play out in a marriage, for instance, and it seems like it would be so easy for just a little bit of jealousy to turn into something huge if we let it. And I think a very common way we express envy towards one another is if we hear of something or someone else failing at something, and deep down, I don't know if you've experienced this, you catch yourself celebrating or maybe kind of happy. And this especially happens to those that might be a little bit on the competitive side. And to be honest, this is something that I really need to monitor in my life, because sometimes this feeling leads me to competing against people that don't even know that there's a competition. And when I am at my worst, when I'm at my most unhealthy state of mind, I allow someone else's success or failure to determine how I view myself. There's an author named Jordan Peterson. He wrote a book called 12 Rules for Life. And he says this about comparison and envy. He says, compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. Now, King Solomon, he wrote this in this book of Proverbs. He wrote, a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. Did you catch that? Envy rots the bones. That is the destructive nature of envy. So I shared my weak tendencies, so I'll ask you to think about yours. What, or rather who, leads you to a place of envy and jealousy? And no matter what it is, it will leave you feeling lifeless and empty inside. And I know that God wants more for us than that. He wants us to experience love that is full of contentment and joy.